This is how I roll. This is how I roll. This is how I roll. Shrimp, shrimp, sushi. What if I told you that an apologist was completely and totally wrong about cosmology and science in general, and made tons and tons of statements that had absolutely no support to them whatsoever, and then asked questions in their comments section that, frankly, are, well, we'll get to that. But what if I told you that an apologist didn't understand cosmology? You probably wouldn't be that shocked. Not, and especially when it comes to this guy, because I've already covered him twice. And he was wrong then. And he's still wrong now. It's been 6+ months since the last time I covered him. And that video was like 6 months later, and it made sense at the time to call the video 6 months later, but now it doesn't because it's more than 6. He's wrong. He's wrong about all the things. And people are just like, you're wrong. We don't know what else to tell you, then you're wrong. Some people, type out a lengthy response, but thanks to YouTube's comment section never working right, people have kind of just given up and they're doing little tiny comments or whatever. And yeah, this is not hard to find out. This is easy to find out. And you've got tools at your disposal, okay? All you had to do was type in his script into ChatGPT and ask it, what did I get wrong? And it would correct it. Now, ChatGPT can get stuff wrong, okay? It's a tool, but it's a time saver. It really is. I mean, this thing, it's amazing. And so I just put in one of his comments, which was, the evidence overwhelmingly supports the universe at a beginning. No, that's not true. There isn't evidence like that. The Big Bang model describes early expansion of the universe, not an absolute beginning like creation ex nihilo. And there's models like eternal inflation, quantum gravity, Hurdle-Hawking, no boundary proposals, silicate models, and none of this suggests a beginning. And the evidence supports an expanding universe from a hot, dense state. But if that is the first moment, is an open question. So that all comes from ChatGPT. He could have easily found that out. And it's not even that hard to find out that information on the regular internet either, if you actually bother to research anything and look into it at any level. But if you are an apologist who just wants to pretend that they know what the hell they're talking about, you don't have to do any research. You don't have to offer any citations. You can just say stuff and people might believe it because they agree with your conclusion, in this case, that there is a God. And I think that the conclusion that there's a God is a separate question from cosmology. And I know believers like to link these two together because they think that somehow a beginning to the universe would mean that they're right about their version of God, when plenty of other religions also posit a thing that could be looked at like a beginning to the universe. In fact, their religion doesn't say a beginning of the universe, and it doesn't detail it in the sort of detail that we can get from science. So their books aren't about that. They're never meant to be about that. They're a basic story of just so. Why is the world bad? Well, there was a start to stuff, something happened, and now stuff is bad. There was a Coke bottle that was dropped from the sky because the gods are crazy. It was an interesting movie. If you've never seen it, the gods might be crazy. The second one, not as much as the first, although the first is kind of long and weird and kind of boring at times, but it's kind of funny. But at any rate, the point is, you can't just say stuff is true and not back it up with actual real information. Unless you're an apologist. Then I guess that's all you can do. Check it out.
What if I was to tell you that modern science has confirmed what the Bible has said all along? That the universe, all space, time, and matter had a beginning sometime in the past. And the thing is, if it had a beginning, it must have a cause. Now, you don't have to take.
I would say that you're wrong in full. There is nothing in science that supports what you are saying. If there was, then show us that. Give us the peer-reviewed papers that support this premise that you're making. But I know you don't have them. And I know that because you have 0 citations in your description. You ask for donations, you have your links to follow you and your social media stuff, and that's it. You do not have any science whatsoever to cite on this matter. So you are wrong. Period. End of story. This is not what science says. Stop lying to people. Now, maybe you don't know that you're wrong, but I mean, seeing as how this is now the 3rd time that I've corrected you about a bunch of stuff, I'm kind of starting to think maybe you do know that you're wrong and you just don't care.
Take this from me. Although I did teach space science for 9 years and I got my.
You taught space science. Sure you did.
Degree in biology and chemistry.
You got a degree in biology and chemistry, really? What kind of degree? Also, those are the wrong fields for cosmology. But if you're going to make these claims, great, prove them. Prove that you have taught anything at all and where. And prove that you have a degree. And if you're not willing or able to do so, then don't claim that you have them, because it's an appeal to authority and it's appeal to the wrong authority on top of that. So 2 fallacies, which if you were an educator, you should know better, but maybe you were a poor educator, or maybe you were an educator in a Christian school or something. I don't know. But I don't know either, because you're not telling us where you got that stuff from. And honestly, I don't believe you.
I'm going to introduce you to someone that I did a lot of reading about back in my early days of studying scripture and learning about the evidence for God's existence. This man's name is Dr. William Lane Craig.
Why? Okay, he doesn't. That dude is an apologist and doesn't know anything about anything. He just pretends to know stuff. I know who he is. I've talked about him. I have a playlist on him. He's wrong. The Kalam cosmological argument is fundamentally flawed for numerous logical reasons. I have a video called KCA where I outline all the fallacies in that argument. Maybe I missed a few, but there's a lot. And of course, it's just not scientifically true. So I don't care what this idiot has to say. He's wrong as well as you. But who cares what he says? Because he's not a cosmologist. So we're skipping. If this, is that it? It's just going to be you reacting to William Lane Craig? Is that this video? Then we're wasting time here. Okay, I guess that's what this video is.
Parfit says,
I don't care. I don't care.
but there are good. The universe never began to self-contradiction. It's a legit.
Yeah, he's just reacting to William Lane Craig. Can't you produce your own content, man? I mean, come on, dude. Really? That's it? That's the best you've got? Okay. Anyways, let's just screw that. Let's just go to the comments. This person actually had a response given to them, so I'm going to go over this. The claim that another viewer says, the claim the Big Bang proves the existence of God is a stretch. It's just beyond that. Big Bang Theory shows the universe as we understand it began to form from a singularity, a state of where current physics break down. Right. Everything. Yeah. Saying this points to a personal intelligent creator jumping to conclusions. Absolutely. The idea everything requires a cause is an assumption based on how we experience the world. Correct. It's not clear why A universe that begins in a way that we don't fully understand must be the result of God, especially when the cause of the universe remains an open question in science. Exactly. As for infinity, the concept of infinite time is a mathematical issue. Well, okay. But it doesn't necessarily prove the universe had a finite start. Yes. Simply don't have the answers, and invoking a deity doesn't make the mystery any clearer. The existence of the universe doesn't demand a supernatural cause. It's possible there are natural explanations we have yet to discover. Very well said. I sincerely appreciate your perspective. No, you don't. And for offering something to discuss rather than just saying I'm wrong and you're right without offering anything of substance. Well, you should know that you're wrong by looking up the damn science, which you didn't do. You just pretend that you know the answers and then look at William Lane Craig while he talks. I am unimpressed by your video. I agree. The origin of the universe are a profound mystery. You didn't say that in your video. You acted like you absolutely understood it and that science agrees, which it doesn't. So you're lying. It's truly amazing we even exist. Yeah. I'd like to cover some things you wrote because ultimate questions like these are truly important and fun to discuss. You suggest saying the universe requires a cause to such an assumption based on experience of the world. But isn't science itself built on the premise that effects have causes? No, it's not. So clearly you don't understand what science is built upon. It's not built upon that. So, and by the way, I was like, no, just no to that idea. The entire field of physics is about discovering the underlying causes of natural phenomena. No-ish, like you're kind of just saying stuff that sounds like it could be right, but you are like off the mark by wide margins of error. This isn't a very sophisticated way to put it, and since you don't understand what you're saying, or in this case, writing, I'd have to say you don't understand science. Why should the beginning of the universe be exception to this principle? Why not? We don't know that it is or isn't. That the problem is we don't know the end. But the thing is, we can't say that everything acts in a certain way. We know what acts in certain ways according to what we observe locally, but that doesn't mean that it's always that way everywhere in the universe. And then if we go backwards in time, it doesn't mean that it's always been that way in the past. Now, maybe it has been, and probably it has been, and that's all fine and good. But then when the universe gets really super mega hot, Planck temperatures, physics as we understand it breaks down, and we don't know anymore for sure. And again, we just don't know. Period. End of sentence. End of story. The evidence overwhelmingly supports the universe had a beginning. There he goes again, being completely wrong. There is no evidence to support that. That is an assertion that you're just completely, utterly wrong about. Cite something. Show me something that agrees with you that is like look, it's an article. No, find some peer review. And make sure that they say that not just in the abstract, but that actually is their conclusion as well in the paper. Not that you would really understand how to read or understand a scientific paper, but I know that you're not even going to bother to give us those citations anyways, because you just want to be right. The Big Bang itself wasn't a transition from one state to the other. It was the beginning of time, space, and matter itself. Kind of, but not really. Again, you're kind of like throwing darts at the wall and you're getting something sort of maybe kind of right. But if this is like a low resolution version of Big Bang cosmology that you're talking here. So before it, there was no before in the physical sense. There was no before at all, actually, because time wasn't. So there is no before, period. Once you have no time And what happens when you have no time? Nothing. Nothing can happen. And then time. Why? If the universe came into existence, then what caused it? We don't know. We don't know that it did come into existence, and we don't know if assuming that it did come into existence, we don't know that something caused it, or that it even has a cause. It could have come into existence causeless. Whether that makes sense or not doesn't matter. That could be the way it is. So you're asking a question here, but the answer is we don't even know that question is a question we can even ask honestly. If not God, what do you propose? We don't need to propose anything at all because we don't know the answer. This is why. Why is this over and over again something that apologists just trip over themselves, thinking that you have to have an answer? But what's the answer? We don't know is the answer. There isn't an answer yet. That's the answer. Okay? End of story. Okay? There doesn't need to be a proposition for how it works, although that would be nice. But we say, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Maybe. Maybe we won't. So we don't need to make a proposal for how it works or why it works or anything like that. But when you propose an answer, whether it's God or anything else, you're going to have to prove that that thing is the answer with actual empirical evidence, repeatable tests, or a valid and sound argument. But you don't have those. A self-creating universe? It could be. An eternal past? Despite the scientific issues with actual infinites, there isn't scientific issues with actual infinites. You have no idea what you're talking about at this point. You argue we don't need a supernatural explanation. Did he? He said that it doesn't demand a supernatural cause. That's different than what you're saying. Because there could be natural ones, one we haven't discovered yet. Yeah, if everything that we know has a natural explanation. Therefore, look, and we could even just say drop the everything we know part because you guys do it for the clown. Everything has a natural explanation. The universe is a thing. Therefore, the universe has a natural explanation. There you go. See how that works? Same thing, right? Based on observation. We've observed that everything has a natural explanation to it. So therefore, the universe also has a natural explanation to it. In fact, we've never observed supernatural anything at all, ever. So that's a problem. Isn't that a faith-based position? No. It assumes future discoveries will confirm your belief. You are assuming that you're right without any support whatsoever. That's faith-based. We're basing this on observation of what is. But you're doing this also for the Kalam. You're saying everything that exists has a cause because it looks like things are caused. Therefore, the universe is caused. But unlike everything else that cause is natural, the universe's cause is not natural, even though we've never seen a non-natural cause. There's a special pleading required to use that sort of argumentation. If someone says, I believe the best explanation so far is a transcendent mind behind the universe, is incoherent. And another person says, I believe an unknown natural cause will eventually be found. Both are making philosophical commitments. Well, both are making statements about belief, and I don't care, okay, whatever. If you believe whatever, it doesn't matter. You don't have to prove it at all. It's when you say it's true that you have to prove it. And you said that the evidence points to a beginning of the universe when the evidence doesn't say that. So, no. Would you say your view is purely objective while mine is not? Yeah, your view is completely not objective because it's wrong. Historically, materialists assumed the universe was eternal. This is said a lot. I don't care what people said in the past. It doesn't matter. and also show that it's true. If it did matter, prove that it's true. It doesn't matter, though. Who cares what people said in the past? Whatever. Doesn't matter. What we're talking about is today and what we know today. Oh, people in the past said, I don't care. Avoiding the need for ultimate cause, but modern cosmology shattered that idea. No, it didn't. Even proponent asked, the evidence says the universe had to begin. I don't care if Alexander did say that or not. He's wrong because he doesn't know that that's true. And he didn't say that in a peer-reviewed paper. He said it somewhere in a book or something. But does he actually say that? I don't know. Let's see. And is he still an atheist, or did he convert? Let's see. Well, people are saying that he said this. Let's see. No, I can't find where he supposedly said this for real. And so I would say, citation required. But anyways, not that it matters what he says, because we don't appeal to single authority. We would appeal to the data. What's your best hypothesis? My hypothesis is you're wrong and don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm not saying we don't know, therefore God. Actually, you are saying that. Rather, I'm saying we do know the universe began. No, you don't. You don't know that. You think that you know that, but you're wrong. We do know natural causes break down at singularities. What the hell does that mean? And we know that intelligence is a more plausible cause of order than randomness. What? Okay, so... All right. Get some hot chocolate or some coffee, whichever you prefer, and some milk or something like milk, okay? Pour that milk into the hot coffee or hot cocoa and stir it. And don't pour too much, just a little. And you'll notice there's this nice little swirl, right? And it looks very nice and orderly. And then over time, it kind of dissipates and just becomes one white surface, right? But in that moment, what was a nice circle, right? A nice little thing. Why? Well, because you were stirring it, right? You were stirring it, but you were causing chaos. And yet you produced something that seemed orderly out of that chaos, right? Okay. So you're just making assumptions, but the only mind that we know about is our mind and animals' minds, and that requires a brain. So does your God have a brain? If not, then it can't have a mind. So how does that work? Given that, wouldn't it be a rational conclude an intelligent cause rather than an uncaused purposeless event? Why does he have to add in purposeless event? No, there is no conclusion we can draw one way or the other about any of this because we don't know. There you go. The conclusion is we don't know. Ultimately, I acknowledge that faith plays a role in belief. Absolutely. In fact, that is all you have is faith. Faith is not excluded religious perspectives. No, but faith is awfully encouraged in your religion. Everyone, including those who reject a supernatural cause, places faith in something. That's a statement that you made that is a belief statement, not a true statement. I don't place faith in things like in this way. Like maybe I have faith that tomorrow will be better than today or something like that. The difference is that faith in an intelligent cause is firmly grounded in evidence. No, it's not. There isn't any evidence to suggest that. Allowing one to intellectually confident in their belief. No. So you're not asking anything of this guy. You're just saying stuff. Thanks for your comment. As I said earlier, I truly appreciate it. So I said, no. And I was like, No. Now watch my video. Just no. Not that he's going to, but yeah. So I'm not going to listen to this guy listen to William Lane Craig. That's boring to me. I want him to make his own argument.
Accept it, as people will say, well, you believe in an invisible sky daddy, and they try to make you look like a fool. Well, this isn't what we're talking about. It's not just because the Bible says so. All right. The thing is that,
well, it kind of is.
The Bible has always said so, and science and philosophy are now caught up.
You didn't make the prediction before it happened, though. You didn't say that this would be the exact result. And no, science and philosophy haven't caught up because science says something different. I don't care what philosophy says.
And so you're not a fool. In fact, you are completely intellectually can be satisfied in your faith and belief in God.
Being satisfied doesn't mean you're right.
Because the evidence points to him.
No, it doesn't.
Now, one thing I also want to say is when he talks about the origin of the universe being 14 billion years ago, look, I like to just say, I don't know.
Yeah, of course you do. The universe is 14 billion years old, man. Just get over yourself. Just accept the real. It's 13 billion some odd, give or take.
I like to just say, well, I don't know if it's 14 billion years ago. I can't really say. I wasn't there.
You weren't there. Wow, your understanding of science. Mwah, chef's kiss. Yeah, and you weren't there before you were born, but you know that you had grandparents, right? So you not being there doesn't mean anything.
And truly, we don't know, because a lot of that time when they try to figure out how long ago it happened is built on a lot of assumptions.
No, it's not built on any assumptions. It's all built on observed evidence, which again just shows how little you understand cosmology at all. The only reason why you're even going against this is probably because you want the universe to be a lot younger than it is, don't you? Yeah. You're one of those.
I'm not saying that it wasn't, but I'm not saying that it is. My faith does not depend on that.
Yeah, well,
God can make it happen whenever, however he wants. He can make it have the appearance of time.
Okay, so God, I love that. I love that. God's a liar. God manipulates you to me. It's like it looks old, but actually it's not. So everything was made last Tuesday, but it just looks old. It just looks old. Yeah, but everything was made last Tuesday, or last Thursday, I should say, because last Thursdayism. Everything that we know was made last Thursday with the appearance of age, with all the memories that we have of everything intact and all that. But it started last Thursday. Oh, just brilliant. Just brilliant.
He can make it have the appearance of no time. Look, he's God. He can do whatever he wants. And I just can rest in the fact that the universe began exactly how the Bible said so.
But it didn't, because the Bible doesn't say that the universe began. That's not what it say. And even if it did say that, then so what? That doesn't mean the rest of it's right. Getting one thing right doesn't mean the rest is right.
Now, what is so cool about this also is that this means that the entire universe came into being sometime in the past.
No, it doesn't mean that, because we cannot conclude that. We don't know. That's it. I know you want to believe that the universe has a beginning, and that is all it is. It's a belief that is unwarranted, unjustified, and not supported by any science at all. So it don't matter, man. You're just wrong.
All physical things, he said, all physical things came into existence. And so it begs the question, where did it come from?
That assumes that it came from anything. I don't know. I don't know that it came from. Because if it always was, then it didn't come from anything. It's always been there. If all the energy that we know was compacted down to a small thing, then that's every energy that we know. And as that spreads, there is no coming into because you still have energy. And as you spread more, you still have energy and you still have energy. And so at no point does anything come into that isn't already able to, that isn't part of that process of energy.
How did it get here? And let's
Study cosmology if you want to find out the answer.
check out what the Bible has said.
Let's not. I don't care what the Bible says. Yeah, see. Okay, so you're using English Standard Version. Okay, so who came up with the English Standard Version? What people? Come on, tell me who came up with it. Oh, you don't know, right? You don't know who came up with this version of the Bible. You can say scholars. What's their names? When did they do it? Do you know? No. How do you know that they're right? How do you know that they got that right? Okay. Um. So heavens doesn't mean universe necessarily, because the ancient way or the older way of looking at heavens is the sky. The sky. And the earth is the earth, not like matter. So that's wrong completely and totally. Because the earth didn't come about until way later in the universe's origin. The universe is 14 billion years old, 13 billion something, it's 13 point something or another billion years old. And the earth is 4 billion. So that means, guess what? 13, 12, 11, 10, 9 billion. You had 9 billion years before you got the earth. So it should be like created the universe, and then after a while, and then created a whole bunch of stars and stuff, and then eventually got around to letting the stars make the earth via gravity. So it gets everything wrong in that one sentence. So I just don't care what your holy book says. I really don't.
See, and then earth being our world where we live right now. He created it in the beginning, meaning there
But there's no need to posit that the earth was made by anything other than gravity. That's what did it.
was a point in time where it didn't exist, and now it does. It says here, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light.
Which is completely incoherent, because you can't have light without a source of energy. And you can't say things unless you have a vocal box, a mouth, a tongue, and atmosphere in which to speak. So God couldn't say anything out loud unless he first made an atmosphere, a tongue, a voice box, and so on to be able to speak. Or maybe he made a speaker, like vibrated stuff. I mean, there's all sorts of ways you could construct a thing that would be able to talk that wouldn't be biological but technological. But regardless, unless there's atmosphere for that sound to be transmitted, you can speak all you want, but nobody will be able to hear it. Why it needs to speak at all? Can't it just do it without saying anything? This doesn't make any sense, and it's not scientific. This is poetic at best. So your Bible says a thing, but remember you said earlier, it's not just because the Bible says, but it turns out it is just because the Bible says.
Radiation. Radiation is light.
Radiation is light. It's a form of electromagnetic radiation, but all all forms of light, including visible lights, are types of electromagnetic radiation. Right, but not. You can't just say this stuff without. Oh, jeez. Just.
It's called the cosmic microwave background radiation. And it imagine when everything came into being, all right, there was a massive release of energy. And we're still seeing that on this glow that you can look up for yourself. It's called the cosmic microwave background radiation. Let me just call it light. God said.
Yeah, let you just call it something that it isn't. All right, got it. All right, that's it. I'm done. I don't need to keep going. This guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. It's obviously clear. But he didn't know what he was talking about last time or the time before that. But he keeps saying stuff and being so sure that he is right and also ignoring my videos, because why would he actually engage with somebody that will engage with him? I challenge you to do a debate. How about that? Let's see you prove that the universe has a beginning using cosmology. And you're going to need to bring in peer-reviewed papers that agree with you. I'm going to require you to bring in at least 5. That's the prerequisite for the debate to happen. And if you don't do that, then I win the debate. Period. End of story. There you go. All you have to do to win the debate is bring in those papers and let me read them and make sure that they say what you think they say. And if they don't, you lose the debate. But if they do agree with you, then you win. Okay? Let's see him do that. He won't. All right, we don't have any empirical evidence here. He didn't offer us any repeatable tests. All he did was say stuff that he thought was true and not support it, which is very typical of apologists. God has a tongue, an atmosphere. Okay, God does have a tongue. That's interesting. Didn't know that, but I guess sure, why not? But also, human beings can't withstand the power of God's true voice. Oh, really? Interesting. How do you know that? When you hear it, your mind would cave in, your heart would explode. Oh, that's amazing, man. How do you know any of that? See, people just believe stuff without any evidence to support it. That's the problem. And all of us can believe in things without evidence. And sometimes we think things are evidence, but it's not. Okay. Sometimes we think we have evidence for a thing, and we don't. We think, oh, look, I have this thing, and I think that this is this, and but what research has been done on it? Because people out there, look into the phenomenons that we have and explore them and test them. And when those tests don't yield any results, they go, well, there's nothing here, man. And that's it. We move on. It'd be great if dowsing rods really worked, but they don't. Okay. All right. This guy's out of here. Bye-bye. Ban that user. Gone. Oh, why did I ban him? Because he mentioned a drug that I don't allow on my channel to be mentioned. And if you're a drug addict and you're into that drug, go get help. If you think that a drug revealed God to you, go away. I don't want anything to do with you. Period. You're not allowed on my channel. So that's why I banned him. Yeah. So yeah, some stupid drug proved that God was real in his revelation or whatever. He's tripping out on drugs. So yeah, when you're on drugs, they're going to fry your brain and you're going to believe all sorts of nonsense. And when you mention that you're on drugs and that's what did it, I just can't. I just don't want that around. I don't want it. I don't want people promoting drug use on my channel. So gone. Poof. Gone forever. Dead to me. Don't care. Moving on. I was going to wrap up here. So this guy, truth be told, doesn't have any truth. He hasn't learned anything about cosmology. He just says things are true without any citations, anything to back it up. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't understand science, and I don't think he wants to. He hasn't presented us with any empirical evidence, any repeatable tests, any citations, anything at all. And the argument he gave us was just copy pasted from William Lane Craig, who made a bad argument. So, and he himself also didn't offer us an argument. And so we don't have a sound argument. So we literally have no reason to believe in anything that he said. And so we should discard his conclusion. It's not even about being skeptical at this point, because he failed so badly. Forget it. His conclusion is junk. Moving on. All right. Until next time, be skeptical. And after next time, stay skeptical.